What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol COIN for Coinbase Global. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. First things first, this will of course be an update. You can see some of our older levels are clearly no longer in play after the big flush of this major daily level that we had mapped out there. So let's clear the drawing set, start from scratch. So yes, and the first thing I want to point out is that nothing really dramatically changes to the bullish side until this daily resistance trendline breaks. This is the one thing that I did want to carry forward here. Also, I suppose we should put in the flush point, which we had mapped out prior, which was roughly here, 221, 220-ish area. You can see prior support, and then it flushed, right? So that's that area there. The next thing I would point out is the gap overhead, right? So doing something like this, and then we should talk about today's structure as well and kind of what unfolded across the broader marketplace. So if I just expand this a bit, you'll certainly notice and maybe even remember that we opened on a gap down across the broader market in the early stages of the morning. There was a big drive lower, and then most of it, if not all of it, was recaptured among many of the larger cap stocks, and of course our indexes there closing the overhead gap from this morning's gap down. So structurally speaking, that's going to be a little bit more bullish than bearish, the fact that the buyers stepped up and did what they should have done and closed the gap, right? So to me, that is going to start to point to, at least in the short term, a little bit more upside potentially left in the tank. But again, remember what we talked about from the resistance trend line, the white dotted one here. From a grander scheme of things, we're not overly bullish in Coinbase until we're over that resistance trend line. Now, could it happen? Could it do something like that? Absolutely. The market can always do whatever it wants, but one step at a time. What else can we learn about the 30-minute intraday session and how this move actually unfolded? Again, crypto turned early. It turned before a majority of our stocks. You can see this was happening around noontime here where we bottomed out. I have a feeling, I'm just thinking back in terms of what I saw throughout the day. Most stocks were a little bit later, maybe like 30 to an hour later, in terms of time-wise. So crypto kind of led the way here as a leading indicator. It's not to say that's always going to work out that way, just an interesting observation. In terms of the rally, though, nice bull flag into the afternoon, and it even started to break. So let's quickly take out the Fibonacci's and analyze, what was unfolding here. So from low to the high of the bull flag, you'll notice that consolidation there was well above the 38.2 and also well above the opening drive higher on that first 30-minute pop. So to me, that's going to be a good sign of strength from the buyers, really showing that, hey, we're going to hold this thing where it needs to be and do the full deal, which is close the gap, right? So that's what I'm seeing from a fib perspective. It would look bullish to me as long as we remain above into the remainder of this week. Let's go ahead and put this level on. This one right here, things are fine. I don't want to say fine, right? Because we talked about the daily context, but things in the short term, at least, are looking more bullish than bearish as long as we hold above that area right there, 180 roughly. So bull flag consolidation can happen here. Breakouts likely take us closer to 210, the top end of that red candle. There's probably a bump in the road here, which we should point out as well, around 200 even. It's a nice psychological number. I would look for that as a first upside target, but you get the gist, right? So healthy bull flag, first target here, second target there, then we'll reassess as we potentially move into the overhead gap, one step at a time, as I mentioned. If it's going to break down underneath 180, that's not the end of the world, but it would need to form a higher low and do something like this and not make an equal low. If it makes an equal low, we're in trouble, and the daily downtrend is likely just going to pick back up and keep us moving on that downward trajectory. So that's what I've got for you inside of Coinbase. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything new today, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.